What's up, you guys? Steven Vanderhook back again, jumping in today to the most exciting topic that everyone always wants to talk about. What is the most important investment I can be making right now? I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to be talking about stock picking today, right? If you want to do that, I don't care. Just go to Vegas, put it all on red, see what happens. We're not going to talk about individual stock picking today, but we are going to talk about what we can do right now during this extremely volatile time of 2020 to make the most amount of progress and success with our investment portfolio. 2020 is extremely hostile. Now, overall, I'm still a believer in dollar cost averaging, right? Where essentially you're just investing the same amount every week or every month, and sometimes you invest when the market's up, sometimes you invest when the market is down. Overall, long term, you get to the point where that kind of all averages out, and when you're entering the market, and then you're staying in, holding for the long term, right? You know, I'm not about buying and selling and day trading, anything like that. We're all about long term here, but realistically, a lot of people during 2020, even with dollar cost averaging, right now you're in a situation where money is tight. We all know there's a number of reasons why money can be tight right now. So what we're going to focus on is really the best investment we can be making right now. You ready for it? It's your mind. I know that sounds cheesy, I know it sounds dumb, but it's true. Honestly, right now is a great time to start learning. I mean, we're in history making time, right? People are going to always read about 2020 in history books from now on in the future, and right now is a great time to learn and understand what's happening in the world, what causes prices to go up and down, what happens in the markets, how people behave at a mass scale, and really focusing right now on learning. Because if you don't have cash to invest right now, that's okay. That doesn't mean you can't be learning and progressing and improving. Really, all of this can be summed up by our boy Ben Franklin when he said, I'm going to read this so I don't mess it up. Empty the coins of your purse into your mind, and your mind will fill your purse with coins, right? So it's just that idea that, hey, you have so long to invest, especially if you're young, if you're a teenager or in your 20s, even in your 30s, you have such a long time horizon to invest. You don't even really need to worry about that. You have plenty of time to make money. But you also have plenty of time to lose money if you don't focus right now on investing and increasing your understanding and your knowledge and recognizing how much in the world there is to know. I mean, personally, when I first started getting into finance and I was in college and really learning about stock markets and investing, I thought I knew everything after like a month, right? And now I am years later, and I recognize how little I really know. And that type of understanding and awareness has really helped me for making some big major mistakes. I mean, some of my investments that I'm the most proud of are investments that I walked away from. I started looking into them and I was really excited about them to begin with, and the more I got into researching them and understanding them, I realized, you know what? This risk-reward ratio isn't where I want it to be, and I'm walking away from this one. So my anti-investment, right, not putting any money in certain places, have been some of my most rewarding investments that I've made. So let's just think about what Ben Franklin said a little bit longer, right? What can we actually do right now? Be emptying our coin purses into our minds and let our minds later fill our coin purses, right? What can we actually be doing to increase our understanding and our knowledge? A big thing. Obviously, YouTube, huge resource here. I mean, there's my channel. There's a million other channels out there to learn a ton from. You got experts who are willing to give their advice away. You have some of the most sage people this world has ever seen. Some of the most successful investors ever that have proven it for decades. I'm not talking about your stock guru who's driving around in his sick car flashing $100 bills looking all cool. I'm talking about real investors who made real money for decades. I'm talking billions of dollars being made. Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio. These people have a lot of wisdom and knowledge that they have just given to the world. They've said, hey, I'm at a stage in life, I've made plenty of money, I'm going to keep making money, but also I'm going to put some of my energy and effort towards sharing what I've learned. Study these people, study these sages. They put it out there for us. There's no reason to not learn this stuff. So YouTube, obviously a huge resource, and books. Books are where it is at. It's the biggest hidden treasure. It's the biggest secret. It's hidden in plain sight, but it really is such a good path to success. Benjamin Franklin, a lot of people know, he was the guy who invented bifocals and played with electricity in his kite. Not a lot of people know he was extremely wealthy. Now, he could have made a lot more money, but he dedicated a lot of himself and a lot of his time to public service. But he did do really well in business and making a lot of money. And when he was a young boy, he was working in a printing press, and every night he would steal or borrow books, right? Our boy was just walking out with them and be like, give me that. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go home with this, walk home with it. He'd come back the next day, put it back as if no one knew, just slip it right back onto the shelf. Got a bunch of crap on there, whatever. And no one would even know that he was doing this, and he was taking books home and just learning and reading and studying. He was doing that all the time as a young boy, and that helped lay the foundation for his knowledge and his success. Benjamin Franklin was one who really started to found public libraries here in the United States and say, hey, let's make libraries that can be free and for the people and make this a public good and a public service. Libraries are awesome. When's the last time you stepped in a library? Now, right now, libraries are closed mostly around the nation. I know all ours are here, but when's the last time you actually went into a library and realized they have so many resources there? They have so much more than just books. They have tons of movies, tons of educational seminars, training classes, just a ton of resources that are all there for free. And most of our population, they just go unnoticed. But we don't want to be like most people, right? We want to set ourselves apart. We want to have success. We want to succeed. We want to be above average. We don't care about that. So what does it take to be above average? It means doing things that most people don't do, right? The average person doesn't really hang out at the library much. But going to your library, or right now using the digital version, you probably have a good app you can use from your library. Overdrive is really, really popular. You could get access to these books, get your library card, log in. I mean, I almost never actually go to a library anymore. I almost do it all exclusively on my phone. It's all electronic. Also, you can always obviously be buying books. And, I've bought plenty of books in my day, and some are audio, some are paper, some are digital ebooks. Eventually, I realized, man, I am spending so much money on books, and I don't regret a penny of it. They were all worth it, even some books that were kind of sucky. I still learned stuff from them. But at the end of the day, you don't have to have your Audible subscription. You can just use the library. The library has all the best books out there. Sometimes you have to wait a little longer for your book, but that's okay. There's plenty of others to learn from in the meantime. Trust me when I say I used to have my Audible subscription, and then I'd buy a ton of books as well, so I'd get my book a month. I'd buy a ton of books during the Black Friday sales, during the holidays. And then eventually I realized, okay, well, I can also get books from the library, and I was doing both and getting audiobooks from the library. I mostly do audio. I read some paper, I don't really read much electronic, honestly. I usually am reading paper or listening to audio, mostly audio for me. Everyone's different ways of learning and focusing. As long as you can absorb the information, that's what really matters. I don't really care what you're reading, if you're speed reading, whatever, if you're listening. So it doesn't really matter how you're absorbing the information, but just make sure you're going to the best information. And usually, people who are writing books know so much, and they have to boil down all of this knowledge and put it in a nice, succinct, organizational manner to communicate these ideas to people. So big fan of books. They're such a good way to learn. Highly recommend them. And eventually I stopped with my Audible subscription because I realized I just have all these books for free. I don't need to pay for it anymore. So I was able to cut costs as well while still investing in my mind, still learning and growing and learning a ton. Really, just to sum things up, remember our boy Ben Franklin. He's on the $100 bill for a reason. The guy's a genius. He knew so much. He was really smart, also really successful in business, and of course, he was really wise. So take his advice, invest in your mind. You'll never regret it. The more you learn, the more you're going to save yourself a lot of loss, the more you're going to prevent. It's really risk aversion, right? You're really going to prevent some losses and prevent some unfortunate things from happening because you're going to learn and understand and grow and learn from other people's mistakes and other people's lessons before having to make those mistakes on your own. That's it for today. See you next time.